What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the late night painting stream. I moved my big light that was right back there for airbrushing over here, which maybe if I moved it more, you guys wouldn't see it. But anyway, first time I tried this, the microphone was off, so hopefully the volume's working. If you have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments below. We're going to be working on some Deep Madness models. And we got them set up here on some GW paint handles. We're going to be using mostly the ghost brushes, contrast paints, and then we'll probably highlight. One thing that's pretty exciting is I only got a few, there's quite a few, but once I kind of finish all my little work in progress, I'm going to actually get a new piece of palette paper going. That's like a little piece of art. When I organize this, I do it the same every time. This one's been going for months and months and months now. Some of them probably are dry, but some of them can be reactivated. But what I do is I put my white and black up here in the corner and any kind of grays in that area. I do green and blues below that in the corner here, red, yellow, oranges over here, and flesh tones here, and then miscellaneous, maybe it's a purple or cream color, whatever. But basically I try to keep it kind of in the same area. So you can see here the kind of green area, here's the blues, the reds, and that makes it easy to mix colors. If I want to do a flesh tone, I'm working around here. If I add any flesh tone, I'll add it to here. And then if I want to make it a little bluer, I can just pull some over from here and put it in. And if I want to make it a little red, I can take some there and so on. But we'll actually get a new piece of paper going once we finish these work in progress. So I think tonight we might just have to go ahead and decide what color the boots are. I didn't Google it yet. Right now we're going to paint Dark Oath Flesh on this guy. For Deep Madness, his name is Samuel Smith. He's the captain. He's got a machine gun. Like always, feel free to join in on the chat. This is really just hanging out. Hopefully you're getting some painting done as well when you watch this. Maybe just some noise in the background. I recently, today, found out one of the podcasts I listen to, the host of it, is tested positive for the coronavirus, which it's not like somebody I know, but it feels weird that it's, like a podcast you listen to, and not one of the, I don't think it's one of the big ones. It's called Afford Anything podcast. She's local to Las Vegas. It's like mostly about kind of achieving financial independence and stuff like that. But apparently she has coronavirus. So I was listening to that earlier, and she never went to the hospital because her symptoms were, she said, were horrible, but not, I guess she didn't have trouble breathing, so she didn't have any reason to go to the hospital, I guess. Just normal, really bad fever for days, fatigue, no energy. So that's scary. So hopefully everybody watching this is staying safe. And what we're doing now is we're trying to finish up some of these heroes for Deep Madness, a game I look forward to playing once this is all settled. We can go back to our game stores, hang out with our friends again. So that'll be cool. I'm trying to kind of reuse the same colors a bit between the different heroes. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem identifying them while you're playing them in game. If two characters look kind of similar, you accidentally grab and move the other one. If you've played board games, sometimes that happens. But it's not like it's life or death or nothing, so no big deal. And we'll add more, even though the African American guy and this white guy are getting the same base coat of Dark Oath Flesh, they'll get different highlight coats. So that should separate them. They're all wearing kind of this Pterodon turquoise contrast paint pants, which just happened to be a nice kind of turquoise blue that I ended up using on the hospital guys, like rubber gloves and shoes. And then I liked it, so just to unify the team, I went ahead and carried it on through all their uniforms. All right, so that looks good. We might go ahead and take this brown contrast here and hit. I got their character cards over here. Hey, what's going on, man? Looks like we got Ewan in the chat. Nice. How's work treating you today? She got kind of gray shirt. Yeah, we're working on our Deep Madness guys again. I keep reaching that point where I'm doing nothing. And then I realize I should be painting. And it's 4 o'clock in the morning. But that's okay because we can paint for an hour or so. And oh yeah, nice. It's about 3:40 here. I think we're going to go a little fast and loose on the heroes tonight so I can make some good progress on them. And then worry about cleaning up and highlighting and stuff. Basically, a good way to speed paint is, especially with these contrast paints, is kind of block it in, kind of fast and loose. You don't have to be overly careful, but try your best, but don't make it too tedious. And then use your highlights as your cleanup step as well. So you're almost letting the highlights determine, or you're letting the mistakes almost determine where some of your highlights are going to go. And as long as your highlights aren't too stark or too drastic, it'll work. And you'll hide your mistakes while highlighting the color in the model. So that's a fun speed painting tip. Yeah, I'm not in any, crazy hurry for having all my minis painted, but what I'm really trying to do is get all these work in progress miniatures finished so I can maybe sink my teeth into maybe a character model or a monster or just a unit of Eldar guys, maybe like fire dragons. But actually, not have 10 projects going at once. Now, I'm being pretty quick, but I still am trying to pick relatively close colors He's kind of blue and kind of purple jacket. Just so when the players are using their character sheet card there, they can hopefully easier to identify their model on the board. Looks like we're going to go Gryph-Charger Gray if we can find it. Looks like we cannot find it. So we might be going something else. I used to own Gryph-Charger Gray, and now I don't. Yeah, I'm using mostly the contrast, as I really prefer kind of the darker contrast, so that way I can kind of get the mid and shadow color quicker. Ooh, I found it. Yeah, and then I build all the highlights on it. And then once you matte coat it and unify the finish, it's she got kind of a dark blue shirt. Yeah, it's really nice. I think they're really fun to paint with. Still remember all the people going on about how dumb they were when they came out. But I feel like the people that actually stuck around and played with them are finding all kinds of fun, cool uses for them. Oh, that one's. I think we're gonna go Kellyan Green. This one's a weird color. Kellyan Green, clearly a blue. With some minis I found. Oh yeah, doing the 2 coats. Yeah, I have it kind of organized. It's like mostly like the washes and technicals that you can't see, the contrast, which you can't really see, and some of the technicals. Kind of my GW 2 racks of pots, kind of the more pastel ones on here. Army Painter and Vallejo Model Color, plus some washes and dry pigments up there. Then I got 2 of these kind of racks for the Mecha, the Vallejo Air, all my Vallejo Metal colors, and a lot of my Vallejo like weathering effect paints. And then down, kind of all on the desk here and kind of down here, I got some P3s scattered about. Down over there, I don't know if you can see, not quite, but I have the Minotaur line, which I want to start using again. It's fun to shoot those with the airbrush. And then in my bucket over there, I got my, whatchamacallit, my Scale 75 Fantasy and Game. And that was the box I mostly take to and from the game store, because I'll paint at the game store on Wednesdays and Fridays normally. Obviously right now, not so much because it's closed. I don't know what it's called. There's got to be a name for it. But do you, well, hold on. I don't know how to say it. Do you feel excitement or joy when you finish like a pot of paint? Like something about it being empty, I kind of like. There's probably a name for that. Or like if I finish a shampoo, because it's like, oh, then I get to go buy a new shampoo. Or if I finish a tube of toothpaste. And I really try hard to get every last drop out of those things. But I still like the feeling of like throwing the bottle away. Yeah, I got a lot of paint. It's one of the things I'll always be happy to impulse buy. But I do like the joy of finishing the pots and throwing them away. Only like some of the washes would I necessarily run out and rebuy. Celestra Gray I would always rebuy, of course, if I finish. Yeah, I don't know if it's so like I might actually buy a new pot as well. But like when it comes to like if it shampoo or toothpaste or cologne, something like that, I'm gonna buy a new one every time probably. So I like finishing it and then I gotta buy a new one. I don't know if there's a name for that. Yeah, I have actually. I'm always brainstorming, and I do think I would probably improve my painting a lot if I just painted with like the same 20 or so paints, 20 or 30 paints. Definitely would improve things like mixing colors and stuff like that, which isn't totally important in the world of miniature painting. It's not like... Actually, I'll talk about that for a second. Yeah, the panel liner, awesome. Yeah, it's cool. Like you just put it on and it darkens up and go about your day. But yeah, the one thing I noticed was some of the higher end. Actually, I think it's just maybe one company mostly, but they have. Hold on. They have like it's miniature paint, but they're just pure paint colors. You know, like 1 or 2 reds, 1 or 2 blues, 1 or 2 yellows. It's basically like an oil painter palette, similar to that, or maybe like a watercolor palette. Palette meaning what like a painter might use on every single painting and mix all their colors. And some people I really like, their YouTube channels and stuff, like Marco from Not Just Mecha. You know, they use these paints and then they say like, oh yeah, these are so great because you can mix the colors you want, which is exactly what a 2D artist wants, except a 2D artist is trying to match colors from real life. So they need to know which colors are in their pigment because they don't want to accidentally mix in a red that contains some blue and they didn't know it. And then they get I guess there's a value there. But when you're mixing colors with no aim, it doesn't really matter what you mix. You have, and then mix any other color into it and adjust that brown as you see fit. Instead of it being sold as like, oh, now you can mix the exact brown you want because our pigments are pure, which is true in 2D art when you're trying to match brown pouch, and it's just one, and you have, say, I don't know, what's a brown? Rhinox hide, or what's this cool orange brown? Scrag brown from like Citadel. And you're like, oh, it's a little too light or a little too dark, or you don't need the paint to be completely pure to do that. Now, obviously, if you have to match it over and over again, I'm going to do that because, that'd be a pain in the butt for painting an army. But yeah, like over on Marco's channel, he'll do like, oh, we're going to specifically like to use a limited palette and just work with the same colors mostly over and over again, which there is value in that to kind of master your colors. But at the same time, instead of mixing up, financially, if you don't want to buy the paint, that's fine. Instead of mixing up your basic flesh tone, you could grab any flesh tone you have and then simply add to it. Like, oh, I'm going to mix up a reddish pink. Well, if you already had a pinkish flesh tone, you could just add a touch of red. You don't have to mix it completely from scratch. There's no additional value there, I don't believe, for miniature painting. Still does, I don't know. But was a 2D artist, and now he's a miniature painter, commission painter, YouTuber, streamer, whatever. So I could see why that would make sense. Like, I don't know if Marco's sponsored by Chimera Paint, or he just likes mixing his colors. But if he was sponsored by him, then yeah, maybe he wants to always show them to, help sell them, which makes sense. Oh, hanging out. All right. Have fun at work. I'll probably be here for a little bit rambling on. Yeah, I think your first color mix, if you're still there, just take like a light blue, mix it into your flesh tone, and use it on like the jawline of a male miniature and see if you can create the 5 o'clock shadow. That's kind of a good practice. Using your blues and flesh tones you could also glaze a blue over the flesh tone area. Yeah, you too. Don't work too hard. Thanks for stopping in. I'll definitely say my current lighting setup with the big light over here on instead of behind me and off is making this much easier. I might have to go find some toilet. Maybe if I'm up at 7 in the morning or whenever the grocery stores open up, maybe I'll go look for some toilet paper before I go to bed. I'm not ever finding it when I go at night. Hey, Brush and Quill. What's going on, man? We are working on the Deep Madness characters. Kind of just trying to really get paint blocked in on trying to cover all the primer, basically. That way, yeah, maybe tomorrow or whenever we can start highlighting them. What are you working on tonight? All right, I think we're just going to go ahead and make all their boots wildwood, I believe. Or now we'll go Gore-Grunta fur. I don't even know if I've used this one. Got all my clowns matte coated. So they're over here drying. And hopefully I'll probably just not touch them and then tomorrow take photos. Sometimes they're probably dry to the touch right now, but I kind of prefer not touching them. I let them dry overnight when I varnish usually. Oh yeah, Gore-Grunta fur is a pretty rich brown color here. It's going to be a good choice for their boots. Oh, a drop zone. Oh, nice. Like a charity paint. Is it like you paint it and then eBay it off or something and donate the money, or is it like a raffle? I'm always watching documentaries and stuff, and it'd probably be hard to bring this up to somebody with cancer, but there was a documentary I saw. I think it was called the Gerson. I think it's called Gerson therapy. Some doctor. I think they might be in Mexico. I think they treat cancer with like vegetable juice, and I think they do coffee enemas. And there's a lot of people in the documentary that were saved who couldn't go through any more chemo and they were sent home to die. And then they went there and that doctor saved them. Obviously, probably doesn't save everybody, of course. And the reason it's not in the United States, I think, is because it's treating cancer is heavily regulated here. So it'll be interesting. I don't know how close you are with them, but they may want to look up the Gerson therapy. I'm the kind of person, though, that if I'm sick or something's wrong, I try to deep dive into it and find as many people as I can and see what they did to fix it, I guess, which I've been doing for about 5 years now with my anxiety, which I have not completely conquered, but I've come a long way. All right, so if you put Gore-Grunta fur over Gray Seer, you get a pretty convincing leather boot color in one coat, which is pretty nice. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, yeah, it's not necessarily a healthcare thing. It was, I think, well, I think mostly it's, I think you can only take so much chemotherapy, I guess. I'm not sure. I watched a while ago, though, but it was interesting. Oh, what the heck? Are her boots? These characters' boots are crazy. They go so far up their leg, it's hard to see where they end. Because, on these board game models, sometimes the details are a little soft. Yeah, I guess it would be an alternative treatment. Because I know a lot of chemotherapy is really, really harsh on the body. But hopefully they recover and everything's good. Sometimes during the day, I think I'm getting, heavily regulated. Well, that's the crazy thing is, so this place in, I think it's Mexico, that they opened up this retreat for it. Could be somewhere else in the world too. Oh, I think they were doing it in Japan also. I think in Japan they had a facility. But yeah, like if you had in the United States, if you had a child with cancer, you could get charged with like what's it called? Oh, child endangerment if you did not go with the standard treatment of like chemotherapy here and decided to pursue like a different alternative. Which is something I do remember from that documentary. No, I haven't. I'll do like audiobooks, but I don't really ever sit down and read much. The last book I read was From Panic to Power, which I got after I started having anxiety attacks or panic attacks in the car. I think it helped. I don't know. One of those things I probably need to read it again and maybe actually do all the little steps instead of just read it and half-ass it. Patch Adams is the Robin Williams comedy doctor, curing people with good mood and laughter, something like that. I only saw that movie once, I think, so I'm not super familiar with the story. I oftentimes get made fun of because I don't really watch a ton of movies anymore. So, and you know how the game store can be. Everybody's on all the pop culture new releases. So it's like, oh, have you seen this show? And you got to watch this movie and you got to go to the midnight showing of this. And for the most part, I've decided I don't care about most of it. Gesundheit. So is he a German doctor? And did they just call him Patch Adams because it's easier for American audiences? Oh, yeah. I watch a lot of nutritional stuff. I'm really into science-based nutrition, which has led me on a plant-based diet. And there's quite a bit of crossover that happens with other medical stuff, and it seems like a nightmare. Although the US is a really good place to be if you get in like a serious accident or need like an emergency surgery, we're pretty good at that. But as far as not getting a heart attack, we're not good at all. Although heart disease is the #1 killer in the world, I think 1 in 4 people die from it. All right, these boots are so crazy. I guess they're not all wearing the same boots. Some of them, which clearly look like metallic knee pads. But we're just gonna keep going. All right, she looks like she's a red hair. He's a blonde hair guy. He's a dark hair guy. Okay. Oh wait, we already have whatever. Yeah, if there's a documentary or something on it, I'll watch it. Or like if you have a good YouTube video for it or something. Like if you found somebody do a talk about it or anything. Oh, okay. I think the blonde guy is going to get Nasdrag Yellow. Nasdrag Yellow seems like blonde hair to me. I probably could close my palette. No reason to let that dry out while I'm doing contrast paints over here. This is for the game Deep Madness. I think it's kind of a dungeon crawl horror. I think you're like possibly stranded on maybe a mining planet or something, and I guess there's monsters. I'm not really sure. I haven't read the rule book yet. But it looks like it'll be kind of along the lines of a dungeon crawl or something. For the girl's hair, I think we're going to go straight Army Painter red tone. Let's see, we'll use. It's going to be really red, but I think with the highlight will work. Okay, this is too close to the purple on her jacket for sure. But we're going to just put it on anyway and figure it out with more washes and highlights later. Yeah, I knew Gesundheit was what you say to people who sneeze or whatever. But I didn't know if it was an actual name in Germany or something. Even though I am German-Italian, even though I mostly just look Irish. I don't know if I have any Irish. All right, that worked. Maybe we take... I think we need a belt color. All right, everybody with a belt is getting bootstrap leather from P3. And I'm using a size 6 this whole time, just a big size 6 brush. And I'll probably go down to a smaller one during the highlights. But we're trying to make progress here. I would contrast paint the belts, but because when I did the pants and the shirts, I didn't take any special care for the belts. They're not clean enough with the primer that the contrast paint will really cover them very good. Where do you, what country are you in? All right, when you get in that little mindset of like, we are going to put some paint on some models, no second guessing, we're going to get it done. I'll tell you, I'm getting some stuff done tonight. Only been painting for a little bit so far tonight, and I feel like these guys are way closer to being finished than they were. Oh yeah. That's what I thought. So I went on a walk today around the neighborhood, trying to get outside, get some little bit of sun, some exercise. And I walked down to this park, and then if there's nobody at the park, which has only happened once, but if there's nobody at the park, I'll do pull-ups on the monkey bars or kids like, little jungle gym, because there's places I can grab onto and do pull-ups. Since the gym is closed, there's no good place to be doing pull-ups right now that I can find other than the park. And I get there today, and it's roped off with caution tape. So it looks like Arizona has shut down the public parks for social distancing. Which I don't know if there's a fine for it, or else it would be the perfect time to actually use the equipment to do pull-ups and stuff, because if it's roped off, nobody else is using it. So I would be the only one. But I chickened out because there were still people around the park. And I wasn't sure what the rules were. If there was like a possibility of getting a ticket for, I guess, using the public spaces right now. And then tomorrow I do a big green smoothie every day. Sometimes in my videos, you'll see it sitting there and looks like a swamp water. But tomorrow I'm going to run out of my leafy greens that I blend in my smoothie every day, which means either tomorrow or the next day I have to go to the grocery store if I want to keep making my smoothies every day. I try to, well, for weeks now, I've been doing one every day without fail. I feel good. But every time you go to the grocery store right now, you put yourself at risk because there's so many people there and nobody's wearing a mask, or hardly anybody's wearing a mask. Hardly anybody's wearing gloves. So I don't know if I'm going to give my smoothies a break, and I think what I might do is reorganize, go through my freezer, figure out what items maybe I can make a meal out of and make room. Then go to the store one more time. And then self-quarantine literally until I have to go to the store again. Like get more water or whatever. Portland, Oregon in the building. What's up, James? I'm actually going to probably go to Portland. I've honestly only ever heard good things about it from people that have visited there. Everybody always loves it so much. Plus, I've been doing a plant-based diet, so I think there's all kinds of restaurants and stuff along that line. I think it's that kind of vibe there. And since my trip to Adepticon got canceled, I have flight credit because my flight or whatever was not used to go to Chicago. So I've been looking at maybe doing a trip to Portland, Oregon or New York City, because I haven't really been to either. I think I've been to the airport in New York City. Or maybe even do Nova, if that goes on. But plan it as like a little bit of a Nova trip, but also a trip to DC, because I haven't been there since I was like 14 or 15 maybe. Yeah, I didn't even think about bringing like gaming stuff. When I was looking at it, I was just kind of looking at food stuff. Would be a good idea though to try and get maybe go to some local game stores and try to get some retail accounts for my paintbrushes. Maybe some stores there want to carry my paintbrushes. It's always good. Right now, I don't need new stores carrying them though, because I have so many paintbrushes to ship from the last Kickstarter. Have you always lived in Portland? Yeah, I've never been to Nova. I feel like Nova might be similar to LVO, where it's mostly a tournament or gaming tournaments with kind of a touch of convention added on. I have not been there though. Whereas Adepticon feels like it's gaming tournaments and a full-on convention. And I don't know exactly what that means, but I guess it just means there's enough to do to stay entertained. Whereas at LVO, you get most of your entertainment by leaving LVO and just being in Vegas. Although I lived in Vegas for 4 or 5 years, I think I did 4 years, and I don't drink or anything anymore. So I don't think I actually care at all to go to LVO again. I went the last 2 years to LVO, and when you're not partying or anything, it's not really all that. Well, scratch that. I'll go to LVO if I'm going to play in something, but I'm not going to LVO to just hang out, because that's what I kind of did this year. I entered some models in the painting competition and mostly just went to hang out, gamble a little bit, which turns into a lot of it. Not by most people's standards, but I think I lost $800 or whatever. Or maybe the whole trip cost me $800, something like that. Anyway, at the end of the day, it didn't really feel worth it. Everybody else I was with was drinking and partying, and they were having fun. But I used to live there, so it doesn't really offer me anything. I used to live there and work in nightclubs. So all I did was party all the time for free and get paid for it. So to go back sober feels like a big waste of time. Now we are putting that paint down on these guys tonight. This guy kind of has a Captain America look to him. Yeah, on the oh, nice. You've been there for 2 years. If you guys are on Kickstarter, you guys both, no problem. If you want to do like a late pledge or whatever, if you message me on Kickstarter, if you want, I can handle it through PayPal. That's the only way I could take payment. But yeah, I'm more than happy to do a late pledge if you need it. If not, I'll sell sets on eBay, or maybe your local store will carry them. You can buy them individually. Yeah. We're just a bunch of old sober guys. I'm on 3 years. Christmas Day, so 3 years and a couple months. And I'm about 27 days away from 3 years, no cigarettes. So that's good. I don't know what the protocol is when you got to go to the bathroom during a live stream, so I think I'm just going to mute it and run to the bathroom real quick. So if you don't see me for 1 second, I got to use the restroom. All right, I'm back. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Sorry about that. Downside of drinking tons of vegetable juice and fruit juice all day on my giant green smoothies is a lot of bathroom breaks. Looks like we got a little flashlight to paint. And I think a flashlight would be black. Hopefully the volume is working okay. Yeah, another thing I've been thinking about, maybe basically with Adepticon being canceled, usually we go to Adepticon and then we take a train up to Milwaukee afterwards, hang out with my buddy's cousin and my best friend in Milwaukee for like quite a few days. So all that got canceled. And it's made me start thinking about, oh, maybe I'll go somewhere I've never been before, like Portland, or actually go to New York City. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I've been, I think they let me do their show twice now. That's fun. That's always a good time. Actually, maybe since it's quarantine right now and you can't go to the game store on Friday night, maybe I'll join in again. Yeah, I've also been looking up maybe getting a passport again and going on a maybe bigger trip, or something more exotic. And one place I was looking up was Iceland, which kind of feels like an exotic trip of don't really know anybody that's ever gone. Looks pretty cool. Flights there are pretty cheap, although I hear it's really expensive once you get there. All right, now we need to base coat some metal knee pads and belt buckles. We're going to go with molten bronze. April 2021 salute. Where is that, in England? Is that the huge model show, or is that gaming convention? What was that one? I know there's some really big, like, scale model shows in Europe. I think I'd love to go to Vietnam. That actually, I watched a lot of travel videos about Vietnam. And there's a place I looked at, I ended up looking at a lot of YouTubers that live there or travel there because it's so cheap to live there. Which means it's also cheap to visit. Yeah, I got on a whole kick of looking at early retirement in Vietnam type videos. Because if everything's half off, then you only need half as much money to retire. How exciting is that? Oh yeah, I really wanted to go to Ireland when I still drank, and now that I quit drinking, I don't think I care to go. Kind of funny, but true. Maybe sad, but true. It seemed like, oh, that'd be so much fun. Irish pubs and drinking and hanging out. And then when I got sober, I was like, yeah. Wouldn't mind going to France again for the Louvre. The Louvre. I've been there once. It's awesome. But I didn't spend a ton of time there, and there's plenty to see. I could definitely go back to that. Of course, those trips are much bigger. I don't have like Iceland because the flight's not insanely expensive. I feel like you could go for maybe a week. But when it comes to like if you were going to go to Europe or Vietnam or Thailand or something like that, France, I feel like you almost want to make sure you have a lot of time, 2-3 weeks just to make it worth the flight to get there. So you did a sober Ireland trip then, huh? I actually have a video on how I think it titled it Warhammer Saved My Life or something like that. And it goes into my kind of journey with alcohol and how I kind of feel like this hobby also helped me get sober. Yeah, going to Warhammer World would be cool, but like it's so easy to order anything you want online if you wanted like a Forge World item. Now you my buddy British Ben is from England. He just moved back to Arizona. He has dual citizenship now. And if I went to England, I'd probably plan to go back with him. That way I could have somebody show me around. I've been to England once, back in high school. Just London. It was pretty cool. I didn't drink then. I didn't also, so I didn't party or nothing, but When you went to Ireland, was that gaming related at all? Like, did you bring your army and stuff? Or was it just sightseeing and relaxing? Another thought I had is if I went to just really messed up here. Maybe. I was going to say if I went to Ireland, sorry, now my brain's fried. Another thought I had is if I went to Iceland, I could go, if I want to do a big trip, go to New York City first and then fly to Iceland from New York City so I could do both. Obviously, makes it more expensive, but if you're trying to plan a memorable trip, and I'm telling you, my LVO trips aren't memorable anymore. Living in Vegas was memorable, even though I blacked out all the time. Yeah, that's what I'd be worried about. Like you go to Warhammer World. If you don't want to fly across the world with a Warhammer army, you walk through the museum, eat some French fries at that little restaurant. And I guess you call it a day. Maybe you buy like a Primaris Lieutenant. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, the last 2 years I did LVO and then Adepticon, and then from Adepticon we would go up to Milwaukee. And if the paintbrushes have continued success, and I don't go to LVO because I don't care about it that much, unless I'm going to play. There's always that caveat. If I want to actually play in like the 40K event or Blood Bowl or something, then it'd be worth going. But just going to hang out, not so much. Yeah, it would be fun to try to add like a more unique vacation. Dark Knight Yeet, what's going on? A new name in the chat. Welcome. Excited. We're right now chit-chatting about gaming around the world and taking trips and stuff. Talking about Warhammer World and the likes. My favorite model, I really, really love the Pincer Demon from Creature Caster. I think it's a perfect Slaanesh model. Some of my favorite models I've painted are an Imperial Knight, painted up what am I trying to say here? Oh, a Scarbrand I think came out cool. What army do you play? Dark Knight Eat? Yeah, so the last 2 times I went to LVO, I didn't play anything. I just hung out, entered models into the painting competition. And it's decent. It's fun. But the first time it was like, okay, I'm back in Vegas since I quit drinking. Maybe I'll see some old friends. That didn't really happen, but it was cool. And then the second time we just went, it was just like, I don't know, felt played out. Literally nothing going on that was very interesting. Like being at the convention was fun. And then I noticed the upstairs, they had the 40K friendly tournament, which would be the one I would probably play if I were to actually bring a 40K army and play. Because it was in a way more kind of private room, way quieter than the main hall where everybody's playing there in the giant 40K Masters tournament or whatever it's called. The vibe, I guess you could say, was more mellow in the friendly room, which would make sense. Hey, Stin, what's going on? Looks like the bot or whatever blocked your link there. And since I don't know what it is, I'm just going to leave it blocked. Sorry. I don't know what Aggie.io is. What are you working on tonight? Are you painting? Painting models? Drawing? Yeah, I've never played Kill Team. I like Necromunda. And I put money into Necromunda, so I decided I wasn't going to buy into Kill Team. There's one guy at the local game store that's been playing Kill Team, and him and his buddies are kind of running it almost like an RPG, kind of a narrative Kill Team expansion, or campaign, not expansion, narrative Kill Team campaign. And they seem like they're always having fun. Oh, that's pretty cool. I used to have a Wacom tablet and do some digital drawing. We're kind of more miniature painting people here. We're all painting our models and miniatures for board games and stuff, tabletop games. All right, we are just about done with a lot of these little gold details. Then I think we hit some stuff with some Agrax Earthshade. Right now I'm painting up a board game called Deep Madness that I backed on Kickstarter. It is a giant board game with kind of a dungeon crawl, and I'm working on the characters. So my setup is awful for showing people the models that I'm working on camera, but it's kind of, I haven't figured out this whole thing yet. It's kind of one or the other. Either I'm on camera or I can change the camera to be facing the table and try to keep the miniatures on camera. Just probably more entertaining, but it's easier this way to I don't know, hang out and chit chat, I guess. Hogs. I didn't see the Hogs of War Kickstarter. By Dimension. I don't know who makes it. Yeah. Dimension. A sci-fi horror game. This one. It actually, that's kind of funny. I just see on the box it says for 1 to 6 players. So I guess if I get bored in my quarantine, I can play by myself. And that might not be a terrible idea to learn how to play before I play with my friends when we can all go back to the game store. So that's kind of fun. I didn't know it was a 1-player game. All right, I think we now hit Agrax Earthshade on all these metallics, and anywhere the metallics touch the skin, we'll make sure it pools up to leave a shadow. Ooh, snakebite leather. I actually think I have snakebite leather still. Nope. Oh, wait, hold on. No, I have vermin fur and vomit brown. You remember that? Old GW paints. I think I'm actually going to auction these off on eBay or give them away. I have a few of the old ones. I have the unopened purple wash and an open red wash, but pretty full. The old ones. What else do I got down here? Oh yeah, I got the polished blue, which is the blue metallic. Amethyst purple, which is the purple metallic. And glistening green, which is the old green metallic. I'm doing kind of a metallic Eldar army, so I might actually end up trying these out. But it's also thinking about giving them away or doing like a auction or something to just get rid of them on eBay. Yeah, some people managed to, I guess, get that Orc Space Wolf box. What do you mean bring a model back to shelf? Who would it be? Do you mean like an old model that I want to see updated, or a new model that came out that was bad, that I wish they redid better? I don't really read the lore or anything, so I don't have any particular nostalgia, I guess, for that. The number one thing that I would buy immediately if Games Workshop came out with new Swooping Hawk models. Swooping Hawks are my favorite of the Eldar Aspect Warriors. And I think if they got some really kick-ass models, I mean, the Howling Banshees were like $55 or $60 for 5. Just ridiculous. But if the new Swooping Hawks came out at that price, I'd at least buy 10, if not maybe 30. Probably 10. Trying to be more responsible. But yeah, the Swooping Hawks for sure. And then also Baharoth, who is the Swooping Hawk Phoenix Lord. I think the Demonettes, although they're okay, this current style is not my absolute favorite. I actually prefer them with the really big claws, big crab claws. I wouldn't mind if they went a little bit back towards that direction. Do you, Dark Knight, do you play Warhammer? Do you have an army you like? I think I painted this guy's bandage like it was a gold giant bracelet, and I think we might just leave it that way. It looks okay. Oh yeah, the new guard would be cool. I'm surprised, like, who knows what they would charge for it, but it almost seems like there would be a way you could have a box and then have them be able to build as like at least 2 of the regiments. But maybe that's a little too complicated or require too many sprues. But yeah, Swooping Hawks for me 100% would get my money. I actually have a huge painted AdMech army, but because this year I'm hopefully going to get some gaming in with my Eldar, I'm not even going to be buying the new AdMech models. Whereas in the past, I used to have kind of that mentality of like, buy all the new stuff for my armies right when it comes out. And I'm trying to get better at that. Oh, nice. Yeah. I got like 3 Forge Fiends painted up for my Thousand Sons. I sold a lot of my Thousand Sons. I'm not ever going to go back and work on them. But they were something I worked on for a while. For a while, I was buying up like every army. Or not every army, but like way too many. So I got way too much stuff. And it doesn't do you any favors having all that stuff just sitting in your closet. I got a Mutaleth Vortex Beast that's primed up. That might be fun to paint one day. Maybe paint it up for eBay or something. These Deep Madness heroes are coming out pretty cool. Just pretty generic, quick contrast paints. I'll put some highlights on them in the future, just to pop, their shirts and faces a little bit. for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how they look so far. Yeah, they're not quite the same, but it almost seems like you could maybe have like Valhallans and more or Vostroyans like as a dual box. But probably not, because then you'd maybe be using the same hat, which they don't exactly have. I had a Vostroyan army. I got like 20 of them painted in my iGuard army. It was all Vostroyans. And then after I painted about 20 of them, I remembered how much I absolutely hate painting those stupid metal models. Even though they look kind of cool when they're painted on the table, actually working on them is terrible. Cleaning the mold lines and everything about them is just awful. So I ended up selling my Mordians, or my Vostroyans, in a trade. Well, I traded them for Cadians, but in the trade, I also got money. So it was like I got Cadians instead of the Vostroyans plus money. So it was a good deal for me because I had the more rare uniform type. And I actually just got lucky on that deal because I had bought those Vostroyans right off GW's website. I spent like $500, and because they used to just be available on the web store, and then shortly after they actually took them off the web store. So I got lucky that I actually ordered them while they were just normal GW price, I guess. And that was have a good one, Brush. Yeah, the upgrade kits would be cool. I don't actually know anything about any of the Primarchs, but I never read Horus Heresy. I never looked into it. Although I think the Emperor's Children are pretty cool. So if Fulgrim came out, that would be cool because I like Slaanesh models. I think they're really neat. So I think they could do a really cool job on him. I was actually thinking if I ever worked on my iGuard again, which I probably should just sell all the tanks and not even think about it. But since I didn't yet, I was thinking it'd be really cool to use the Khador Necromunda gang for all your Imperial Guard guys. And then maybe convert the tanks to be like Khador tanks. Just kind of like a hobby dream project that would take so much effort and so many hours. It's probably never going to get out of my head and onto the table, but it would be cool if it ever got done. Oh, James is out too. Have a good one, James. Yeah, what are you painting right now? Where are you at? Or where do you what country are you in? Or what state if you're in the US? Yeah, looks like we got just about all the Agrax wash and all these little details just coming out pretty good. It's funny once you put a wash, a little bit of contrast paint and some washes, and all of a sudden you got some models looking really good. Just a little bit of metallic paint for a few details so far. And we're in business. Next up, probably put another wash or something on that girl's hair. The red hair is not very convincing. Yeah, Dark Knight. What country are you in? These guys look pretty funny. Oh, Australia, nice. Hey, I'm not up to date on it. How is the wildfire situation under control? That was the big news before the virus. And I haven't heard much about it lately. Favorite Chaos God is Slaanesh by far. I think the Slaanesh models and everything are really cool. They came up with all the new ones, which I like. I don't know. I just like the theme of the claws, the kind of seduction excess with the claws. They're some of the chaos characters used to be really like obsessed with like how pretty they were, but they were like horrifying. I think it's a really good theme for a monster. All right, red hair, red hair. Oh, let's go Tuscarora fur. This whole time we're just using the number 6 ghost brush here. No need to go to a smaller brush yet. Of course, I'm not being overly careful. But careful enough. And then any mistakes I will fix when I highlight. Which is a nice way to keep the paint flowing. Just keep going. Fix your mistakes when you highlight over them. All of these models have been basically just contrast painted and washed so far. These guys will probably get a little bit more highlighting than the monsters have received, just because they're the heroes. I didn't check any of the expansions that I got for this game, but there's probably some more heroes that maybe I should have been working on at the same time as these ones, just so we had more to choose from when we play. Okay, now her hair is Tuscarora fur. It looks way better. Much more like a red hair. Oh, that's good. Yeah, everything was about the wildfires in Australia, and then I stopped hearing about it, so I figured it was hopefully good. All right, we are. She's got a little stethoscope on. So we're going to switch to this old little beat up original ghost brush from the test samples. Not even labeled. It was probably a number 1. Oh, there's a lot better painters than me, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Are you following me on Instagram or Facebook? Got the Sleepwalk Air Instagram. There will be some photos of some Raven Guard guys and some Rumble Slam guys. I finished. Oh, and some Gaslands guys that I finished up and haven't got it taken photos of yet. Yeah, with the painting, it's just a lot of it's just cleaning up your mistakes, like just taking the time. If you do get a little bit of paint overspill onto an area, you don't want it. Just take the extra moment to fix it. Kind of like a coloring book in that aspect of staying within the lines. As I say that, I'm making a little bit of a mess on this model, but that's okay. And it's a stethoscope, so I guess it's silver from the part you put on the patient. Yeah, it's about, what time is it there in Australia? It's about 5 in the morning here, which means I'm probably gonna call it a night soon. All right, this sucks. This Runefang steel is not mixed up enough, I guess. All right, visually that looks better mixed. Hopefully, it's fine. When you're doing board game miniatures, I would ignore the too thin coats. Actually, I don't ever really do the too thin coats ever. And I mostly work inside out and try to fix any mistakes as I go. Yeah, I don't play at the Games Workshop here. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, but all our stores are closed now too. Normally I go to the game store on Wednesday and paint, and then I go on Friday night and paint, And then sometimes I go on Saturday and paint. Or no, Saturday I play, sorry. And yeah, none of that's, everything's shut down now. Which sucks, but better safe than sorry, obviously. All right, we're just picking out some little silver details here. Just we may or may not wash them with like some Nuln Oil or something. Or we may just leave them bright just for like a little pop color. Have you played Deep Madness? Yeah, it's like 5 a.m. here. 5:17 a.m. You knew the maker of Deep Madness. Have you had a chance to play? All right. What else do we got here? I don't know if we have the Nuln Oil around. Maybe. All right, I got the Nuln Oil right here. Well, the virus is hopefully temporary. So, although if you're going to fly from Australia to the United States, it's probably more exciting places to go than Phoenix, Arizona. Go see some museums or something. All right, we got the Nuln Oil out. We're just going to put it anywhere we want to put some shadow. All right, these are looking pretty good. Just trying to build up contrast on the model, not even though they're painted with contrast paint. What I mean is making the darks darker and the lights lighter. So right now we're just making the darks darker because we haven't got to the highlights yet. And that is looking good. Sorry, I've been concentrating, so I'm not talking quite as much because I'm doing a little more controlled painting right now. The goal is darkening the shadows. But I think we're going to call it a night here in a little bit, because it's getting late and I don't think I want to start the highlights on these guys tonight. It's fun using your Nuln Oil as basically just a liquid shadow and just putting it exactly where you want to darken the shadows, like under the arms, creases in the clothes. And you're just basically trying to separate the pieces. All right, that's cool. Looking good. Get that in her hand there. Give a nice shadow on her bag here. Yeah, I feel like we got quite a bit of progress done tonight. Definitely much, much more than if I didn't turn on the stream, because the stream kind of keeps me painting, which I've noticed and really been enjoying, because I get a lot of painting done while I'm sitting here chit-chatting with everybody. And getting models painted is the goal. All right. So I haven't been doing any specific times, just late at night when I'm basically wasting time on YouTube or whatever. And not painting. I realize, I really should be painting. And then that's when I've been turning on the stream, so I get to work. So I'll probably be doing the streams a lot lately, because I've been trying to get a lot of stuff done, and this is helping me do it. So I would say likely, yes, I will be on tomorrow. Maybe a little bit earlier than this, but probably till about this time. But no guarantee. But basically, I'm a late night painter. I've been debating, though, on setting up the camera so you can actually see what I'm working on instead of me. I could set the camera up and point it down, which is maybe a little more entertaining to see what I'm working on. So I may switch over to that. I don't know if I'll have that set up tomorrow, but that's a possibility. All right. I think I am going to sign off now. We got 6 minutes. We'll go 2 hours. So we're going to go 6 minutes. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I'm going to just paint some bases black while finish off the last moments here. Yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out. I feel like I've got a lot done. Thanks for all the questions in the chat, because it makes it way more enjoyable to be chit-chatting with people and Q&A and stuff. So what happens if I'm just painting on my own, which I do many times, but sometimes you just painting on your own, you end up messing around, watching too much videos. Before you know it, you killed 2 hours and you haven't even started painting yet because you were locked into watching other people painting on YouTube or whatever. So this is always good for getting me painting, actually. I've been really enjoying the streaming. I could see why people like to do it. Definitely has a win-win situation where you get stuff done and you make it a little more entertaining. Hopefully everybody's being safe. Earlier I mentioned I'm going to have to go to the grocery store either tomorrow or the next day. And then I think I might really load up so I don't have to go again for quite a while. Just because of the craziness right now, it's a little more high risk to be around other people, and especially in the grocery store. Here in Arizona, we don't have much testing right now. We test kits for the COVID, which means our numbers are probably much, much higher than they currently know about. But since people aren't being tested, we don't know. So people are not taking it as serious as you would maybe think they should. Or maybe not, I don't know. Maybe I'm taking it too serious. I'm not really sure. But when you see the numbers and what's happening in like Italy and stuff, I feel like it's worth taking serious because it looks like a nightmare if it gets out of hand or gets worse. Have a good one. Take it easy, Dark Knight. I'll see you probably tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get some painting done on your Thousand Suns. Oh my God. All right. I think that's all we got for tonight. I'm going to let these bases dry. And actually, tomorrow we should be working on the highlights. Yeah, let me paint that little rock. All right, pretty cool. Talk to everybody later. Thank you so much for watching. Adios.